Hello, everyone. My name is John McNair. I'm an elder law, estate planning, and probate attorney practicing in Dallas. I've practiced in Dallas for 40 years. I have been practicing elder law for 20 years. I'm board certified in estate planning and probate, and I'm a certified elder law attorney. I have a scenario that happens very often, weekly almost, and that is people call me to help find Medicaid or VA benefits to help pay for a loved one's long-term care needs. But the problem with that is that we are getting the cart before the horse. We can't do the elder law planning before we understand where that loved one is going to end up for their long-term care. And that's a problem because, as a typical scenario, someone's mom goes into a hospital, they've had a fall, then they go into rehab, and Medicare is going to pay for rehab for some short period of time, anywhere from 20 to 100 days, but eventually they're going to have to go someplace. Are they going to go home and live independently? Are they going to go home and have a little bit of caregiving to help them along the way with activities of daily living? Are they going to need a lot of in-home care? Are they going to need assisted living? Are they going to need memory care? Are they going to need skilled nursing level care? Until you can answer that question, it's almost impossible for the elder law attorney to help you, because what programs and funds are available and what planning needs to take place, we can't know that until we know where you're going to stay long term. So that's why we've been doing a series of videos about determining where your loved one needs to stay. What are the resources available to help you make that decision? Say it's going to be assisted living. Well, now you have to determine what is the care provider for the assisted living. And there are many, many, many assisted living communities here in North Texas. To help us answer some of these questions, I've invited my community liaison, Susan Rogers, to participate in these videos with me, because she has a deep wealth of knowledge about these factors. She has a master's degree in gerontology from North Texas University. She has over 20 years of experience in the long-term care industry. She has worked in skilled nursing communities. She's worked in assisted living, in memory care, all up and down the chain of the different type of care providers. So today she's going to help us figure out, how do we find the right caregiver once we know that we need skilled nursing level care, or we need assisted living care, or we need in-home care. How do we find the right care provider? So Susan, let's assume a family wants to do their own research about long-term care providers. Where should they start?
Well, thanks, John. It is pretty overwhelming to try to decide between not just the different levels of care, but then the different care providers within each level. So when I say level, we look at several different types of care. There definitely is in-home care, and a lot of people prefer to stay at home if they can and bring care into the home. So we're going to look at that. There's also assisted living. There's large apartment complexes, there's smaller apartment complexes, and then there's also a type of assisted living that here in Texas we call personal care homes or residential care homes. They're licensed as assisted living, but it's in a private home. So it's a much smaller setting with maybe 6 to 12 or 16 residents total within that home. There's also the specialty of memory care, which often is another type of assisted living, but specific to those with memory impairment. And then we also look at nursing home care. So it's hard to know, which is the right place. And there's a lot of factors to consider. There are a couple of guides online that we can use to start our search. Now, in-home care home health care and nursing home care are both covered by Medicare. Now, Medicaid also covers nursing home care. We're talking about with Medicare, the short-term rehab care and then home health care. But because Medicare is involved in both of those settings, they have a really great search engine that we can use to narrow down what communities are available nearby or what providers are available nearby and how well are they rated. Medicare tracks the performance and the outcomes from these types of providers. So the first thing that I usually do if I'm helping someone try to find the right care is I'll go to medicare.gov. And under medicare.gov at that website, I'm going to click on the tab that says Find Care Providers, and then that will bring up a place where I can search by zip code. So for example, I've typed in here Dallas, Texas 75204, which is sort of central Dallas, and then the type of provider that we're looking for. In this example, we're looking for home health services. And then that's going to bring up a list of all the home health providers in that zip code or near that zip code. And it's going to give us some basic information about them. Now, we can also, the line just below where it says home health services, it says filter by. And in that area, we're able to actually filter by how many stars they're rated out of 5. It's a 5-star system that Medicare.gov uses. And so we can select, if we want, 4 stars and above, or 5 stars, but 4 stars and above is usually a good place to start. And then in-home care providers, they also have to submit to Medicare a patient satisfaction survey. So we can look at that information too. So
Can I ask a question here at this point?
Of course, of course.
In your experience, do you think there's a difference in the fee structure between those who don't have very many stars and those who have a lot of stars?
I think that might be some of the contributing factor, but a lot of these agencies are working primarily with Medicare or a Medicare Advantage plan or private insurance. And so the rates that they are paid for the care they provide is really determined by either Medicare or that private insurance. So in that way, there shouldn't be a lot of difference in terms of what they're being paid. So where a difference might be is, who's running that? How long have they been around? How well are they being managed? And like you said, maybe the quality of the staff that they're able to attract and keep. So in our previous search, on the top, just randomly, happens to be this Veritas Home Health. They have a quality rating of 4.5 stars and a patient survey rating of 4 stars. So just for example, we're taking a look at them and to see what information we can gain from this. So the first section here is called Services Offered. And this is going to be pretty standard from one home health agency to another. Obviously, they're going to provide nursing care. Most will provide physical therapy. Some will do occupational and speech therapy, wound care, home health aid, social services, that's a social worker to do care coordination. So those factors will probably be pretty standard from one agency to another.
I understand there's a distinction between medical and non-medical home care providers.
Yes.
And are these agencies that are only providing medical in-home care and not, in addition, non-medical care?
All of these agencies that will be listed here will provide medical in-home care. So licensed care or care from a licensed nurse, a physical therapist, things that are skilled. Medicare typically covers this type of care as someone is recovering from an injury or a surgery, a hospitalization, an illness. Some of these agencies may also provide private pay, non-medical in-home care as well, sometimes called companion care. At Medicare.gov, it's going to be agencies that have to be licensed and provide care through Medicare. So on the second page, the first was the services office offered. The second here, we're seeing what they call ratings. And here's where we're getting some more detail about those quality ratings and the patient survey ratings. And so we can click on this and view details. We're not going to do that today and really get into the weeds. But suffice it to say, this agency has 4.5 stars, which is out of 5, which is great. And their patient survey rating is 4 out of 5, which is also good. The thing that I want to draw attention to on this page, what I've circled here, is down at the bottom, it has this part where it says how long this agency has been certified by Medicare. And this is vitally important because in the Dallas area, it's different in different states, but in Texas and in the Dallas area, there are so many agencies, and some just spring up, every day it seems there's new ones. And so you want to be cautious about an agency that is brand new. They may have the very best of intentions, but without that track record and that experience and having tenured staff and having good relationships with the hospitals and doctors and such, it's really challenging to provide the best care on a continuous basis. So what you want to look for here is an agency that's been around for a while. I mean, preferably for a couple of years. And that's going to be something that will show you that not only are they providing good care now, but that they've been able to keep that Medicare certification for a long period of time. So again, individually, you could go in and you could check out what does this quality rating mean, what do the patient survey rating mean, but for our purposes, we're just going to stop at this point, seeing that they have, the 4.5 stars. I did want to click on, though, and show you the patient survey details, because again, we know the survey is good, right? They got 4 out of 5 stars, but what I want you to look at is where it says, what is the number of completed surveys, and then what's the survey response rate? So they have to have had at least 40 completed surveys for their results to show. So if you don't see a patient survey summary rating, that means they haven't even had 40 people complete the survey. And then anything above that is going to show that, okay, they've been routinely sending out this survey for a period of time. And so this 4 out of 5 stars is pretty well reflected of what the care that you might experience would be. And again, you're getting some details here of the things that they're doing to earn that rating. What if we're looking for a nursing home or skilled nursing facility, as it's also called? We're going to go back to that same home page with Medicare.gov, and we're going to click on Find Care Providers again. But this time, instead of clicking on in-home care, we want to click on nursing homes. Now, for this search, I did Dallas 75254, which is our zip code where our office is. And then I selected nursing homes. And then under the filters, again, we can narrow our distance if we want to. I have it at 25 miles, but you could go down to 5-mile radius. We also filtered by the quality care rating. Again, it's a 5-star system. Oh, and then the other thing that I wanted to know and wanted to search by was facilities that also accept Medicaid. All of the facilities listed are going to accept Medicare, but not all of them will accept Medicaid. And so if you have a loved one who maybe they're going into a facility after a hospitalization, but you have in your mind that, you know, they may get better and come back home, but they also may need that level of care on an ongoing basis, you're going to want to find a place that's what's called dual certified. And what that means is they're certified both for Medicare and for Medicaid. That way, if your loved one is there long term, if they have to access Medicaid benefits, they won't have to move to another facility. When I filtered for 5 stars and above or 4 stars and above and accepts Medicaid, within that zip code, I only came up with 9 nursing homes. So right off the bat, I've been able to narrow down my search options. So now I'm going to look a little bit more closely at those options. And so what I did was I chose 3 different facilities that were within that range and on that list of 9, all that have an overall rating of 5 stars out of 5. Their health inspections were all 5 stars out of 5. Staffing ratios were 4 out of 5. And their quality measures were either 4 or 5 stars. And so what that allows me to do, you just click the little heart, you can compare up to 3, and you can see their results side by side to see how they are. Now, these star ratings are not the be-all, end-all. This is our starting place. This is where we want to start and narrow down our search. But this isn't all. We're also going to go in person, and we're going to go and visit these places as well. We don't want to just rely on the star rating. The star ratings are great and provide a lot of information, but the other thing to consider is that they're just a snapshot in time. So what it means is that the last time these facilities were evaluated by representatives from the state of Texas, they earned this report, these stars, this rating.
And how often are they evaluated?
That's a great question. So they have to be rated. It's a surprise inspection. It has to be at least once a year. It can be more often than that. The facility will get a window of time, a 6-month window that they can come anytime within that 6 months, and they'll just show up one day and they're going to look at records and they're going to talk to residents and they're going to find out all this information and give a rating. Now, we've looked at in-home care and we've looked at nursing home care, but we haven't looked at assisted living. Assisted living is not covered by Medicare, and so you're not going to find the same rating system as we saw before for assisted living. But the state of Texas has a rating system and a website that you can go and you can find information on assisted living communities. So again, we're going to go to the Texas Department of Health and Human Services, and we're going to go to provider search. We're going to search in our zip code that we're interested in. We did 75254. And then we want to look for what are called type B, as in boy, facilities. There are 2 types of assisted living, type A and type B. Type A facilities, there's very few of them, and they can't provide as much care as a type B facility. So we really just want to go with the type B facilities. So what it shows us is that within that zip code of 75254, there's 2 facilities. But within that county that zip code is in, there are 168 additional communities. So there's a lot. So it's good to have that where you can narrow it down by the zip code. What comes up is Manchester Valley and Signature Point. We can click on those and find out more about each one. I chose to click on Signature Point, and again, it's going to show us that general information. It's going to show us inspection results and enforcement actions. Under general results, it shows us it's a type B facility. It shows us how many beds, and then it tells you if the facility is certified for Alzheimer's, and it tells you the ownership information. Some, very few, are nonprofit. Most are for-profit organizations, and then you can find out more about that as well. So we have, that's the general information. We have the inspection information. This is a summary, and it tells us that in the last inspection, there were no violations of the state standards. So that's great. And then the last one is what's called enforcement actions. So if there were violations, those violations result either in a fee, like a fine that the facility has to pay, or other consequences. And so that would all be listed here.
You mentioned a rating system. Is this as close as we get to a rating system? They haven't had an enforcement action?
Right. If there were deficiencies, you would see that. So there isn't here, and that's great.
But they don't have a star rating system like the...
No, it's not the same as and not as detailed as the Medicare.gov ratings. With these rating systems, again, like you're just not going to pick a facility based on this, but this will help you narrow it down. Pick the ones that, look good on paper, and then go out and tour, meet with the staff, talk with families, talk with residents, and get a real feel for it. Now, this is a lot of work. It's a lot of legwork. And so in our next video, we're actually going to talk about an organization that can help with this, and a type of professional that can help with this called a placement and referral agent. So we'll talk about that in the next video.
Thanks, Susan. That is a lot of information. It makes you understand why people might want to go to professionals to help them do this, like the Aging Life Care Managers, because it looks like it could be very overwhelming.
Yes.
Today we've reviewed how to use the care provider directories. Remember, we can't do our job as elder law attorneys until you found the type of setting where your parent or loved one needs to be, and then you've chosen a provider for that particular level of care, and they're in that community or back in the home, and they have the caregiving services started. Once all of that's in place, the elder law attorney now can help you plan, because now we know exactly what we're planning with. Our universe of options becomes crystal clear. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos. And of course, if you need to sit down with an elder law attorney, please go to my website, mcnair-dallaslaw.com, and book a call. Thank you very much.